Hello my crafty friends, it's Beverleigh here over at Crafting Chaos, and I'm here by popular demand to show you how to make the place card, which is this file with the little Santa's head onto the place card, and also how to make the cutlery holder. So we're going to start with first of all with the Santa card holder, and I'm going to just zoom in a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. So basically it's just really basic straightforward shapes is this one. It is so easy, so even a new beginner could actually create this project without any problems at all. So we're going to crack straight on. Right, so the first thing we're going to need are a few basic shapes, and we're going to need a right-angled triangle, we're going to need a rounded rectangle, we're going to need an oval or a circle, it doesn't really matter which, we'll bring that on now, a circle, and we're going to need the smallest scalloped circle, so this one. So now we've got the basic shapes, we can start to create the card. Now, did I use this one? It's the more rounded rectangle I use, so we'll just get rid of that and I'll do it exactly the way that I did it. But it's your choice. So this is the one I think we're going to use, although maybe it was this one. It's entirely your choice. I'm going to go with this one, and I think that's more or less the right one. So I just left it size as is. So I brought that on for the base card, this part here, and I went, first of all, I clicked on the create a path icon, which is this one here, and I clicked on one end of the rectangle, dragged it out and double clicked to anchor. That automatically selects the line, and then I went on to make it a cutting line and a perforating line from the properties. So you hit this icon, properties, cutting line and perforating line. So that's created a perforating line in the square itself. So if we just view fit to mat again so we can see what we're doing. What we're going to do now is click off, and we're going to drag around the square and the line that we've just created, and we're going to say edit, we're going to make it be in the middle, so we want it to line up dead in the middle. So now that cutting line, that perforating line that splits the file in half, this card in half, is now directly at the centre. So we're going to go edit and group. So now that's grouped that file together without actually, and we'll turn it white for the sake of the video. So that's our white piece complete. So what I did next is I made this into an oval shape, like so. Okay. And then, so I've got the triangle selected, and I'm going to go on the properties and I'm going to rotate it by 45 degrees, and then I'm going to go edit and flip it on the vertical axis. So that makes it the right orientation for our file. I am then going to resize it so that when it's placed on the head, it's just slightly larger than the head itself, like so. I'm going to then duplicate it, and this I'm going to free rotate, and what I'm going to do is position it so that it is behind this one but coming out at an angle like so. So all I've done is just rotated it round using the green handle, nothing too spectacular, and this is only for the purpose of the video because obviously you'll stick this into position because you would cut two of these. Now I'm going to send that one to the very back using edit and centre back, and I'm going to bring this one to the front like so. Then I'm going to make them both red so you can see what it's looking like on the screen. So now we've got the hat sort of nearly done. We're going to change the colour of the skin to pink, and that's where we're at. So that's kind of where we're up to with the pom-pom sticking out. I'm going to duplicate that one and shrink it down to make the pom-pom for Santa's hat, and change that to white. So that's that completed now. Then I just need on a rectangle, just a basic rectangle shape, and I'm going to shrink it down in the height and the width until it just fits across, leaving a slight overlap at both sides for the shape. So that would be the brim of the Santa hat, if you will. So the next thing we're going to work on is the beard, and for this I need to first of all take the scallop circle as is, and I'm going to bring on a square which we're going to use to cut that in position. So I'm just going to position it so that I've got about 5 or 6 scallops like so, and then I'm going to select the square and the scallops, and I'm going to process the overlap and divide, and that will divide all of the shapes. So now we don't need that square anymore, but what we have got, and that's just, if you do get a couple of little bits, just make sure you delete them. So this is forming the beard for the Santa, which will go here, and if it's not quite wide enough you can widen it and make it squat however you wish. So I'm just going to bring that up to the front and turn it white so you can see the white of the beard. Then all you need to do is click on the other part, edit, and flip on the horizontal axis and position it, bring it to the top, make it white, to the top and white, and that will form his kind of moustache, if you will. And basically that is the Santa's head complete, and I just selected them all by editing, grouping everything, and I'll just get rid of the properties box for a minute, and I just shrank it down then until I thought it was a nice size to fit my design like so. So you can do this as big or as small as you wish. So I'm just going to bring it on until I was happy with it, and all I did then was edit and ungroup so that each of those parts can be cut individually. The next thing you would do when you pieced all this together is just put in 2 little black or blue for the eyes for the Santa's face. And all I did was layer it up, starting with the head, then I layered on top of that the first triangle, then I positioned the second triangle round so it was coming out at an angle, and then put the little pom-pom on. I then used some double-sided foam tape just to pop the fur of the hat up slightly. Then I attached the beard directly to the Santa's face and just popped up the moustache to give it some dimension. And that is basically the Santa file, and all I did to mine was add a little bit of Wink Stella to the white areas just to give it a twinkle. Now, the last thing that I did was some individual tags for the names, if you will, the place names themselves. So what I did is in Type Converter, I've just forgot the nose, I'll come back to that in a second. I've put, say for example, Mum, choose a font that you like, and I like the Better Together, that's my favourite for now, just previewing, it's nice scripty looking one. Close, but you would save it. I'm not going to save it because I've already got it saved. Actually I will, just to take you through it. I'll save it. I'm going to save it into my downloads or desktop, whichever one you find easiest. I'm just going to cancel that and give it a name, Mum, save, and then that's saved. And then I can close down that. All I need to do now is go back to the Canvas workspace, go on SVG, because I'm going to import that FCM we've just made, go to the desktop, there's the Mum file, and select it, then say OK, and that will bring it in, and it's obviously going to be a bit big. I'm going to select all the letters and I'm going to turn them black, and as you can see there's a little hole that needs to be got rid of there, and sometimes if you've got a lot of squirrel letters you can have that a bigger problem. But to deal with that you just select on each individual letter and you hit edit, process the overlap and subtract, and that knocks out that. You can see there that that's disappeared. So now I'm going to group them, I'm going to resize them, and I'm going to drag that mum now down onto my place card, and that's how I did it. I got the scan and cut to write my greeting using my universal pen holder. Then I pieced together my Santa, stuck it down, and the only piece that I forgot to tell you was just to bring on a circle shape or an oval, size it right down, and I made mine a little bit squat so that it wasn't quite perfectly circular. I'm going to make it a fleshy colour like his face, and I just plonked that on top just to give his face a little bit more dimension. So that was the nose. And all I did was then for each family member did their own label, got the machine to do all the work for me. I've pieced it together, and that was the result of my place cards. So that's it for part 1, making the place cards. Please come back for part 2, making the cutlery holder.